What's up, everybody? Joe White here, and today I'm rolling through. Just got done rolling through Iowa. Started off the day in Davenport, Iowa, home of Seth Rollins, and I'm now it's home of Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. Apparently, are they still? Does he still live in Davenport? I know he's got a coffee house and a wrestling school there. But anyway, that's not why we're doing this video. I'm getting ready to enter into Nebraska here. Um, We're going to talk about Dave Meltzer again. And we're going to address this again. Because I feel the need to address this again. Because once, AEW went up against WWE this week. And they got their butts handed to them big time. Now, yes, you can make an argument that, it's a different time slot on a different day. So fans aren't going to know what's going on. And I say poppycock to that. Because when you tell people, okay, Title Tuesday, we're on Tuesday. NXT fans had no problem finding them on the CW. So just because the whole different network, different night thing does not really matter. Shows used to skip around sitcoms in the late 90s, early 2000s. Used to skip around days all the time. Roseanne was on Tuesdays at one point. Then they moved it to Fridays, then to Thursdays, then back to Wednesdays and Tuesdays. And never really lost its audience. It lost its audience because of bad writing, but we'll make that comparison here in a second. So that whole deal, I find it hard to believe. I just really find it hard to believe that just because it's a different night and different day and people creatures of habit. Now, with DVRs, I don't buy that excuse. I really don't. Now, DVRs have been around since the late 90s. TiVo. Remember TiVo? Does TiVo still exist? Anyway, you can set up a series recording and set the thing to record or remind you, hey, this is on. Anytime the show airs a new episode, no matter what night, no matter what day, no matter what channel, my NXT recording moved automatically from USA to CW. So I don't buy all this mess. And yes, they're probably going to do a better rating this Wednesday when they're back on Wednesdays, but that's beside the point. Let me start with this. Let me read this tweet. It's up on your screen. I'm going to go ahead and read it here. Dave Meltzer tweeted, NXT did 874,000 people and an 0.24. AEW did 320. I have to laugh. 329. So AEW or NXT almost. They were about 50,000 viewers away from doubling AEW's audience. Okay, and they did as far as the demos go, 0.24 and 18 to 49, which is the key target demographic that Dave Meltzer holds up so high. And NXT did a 1.0. So AEW, or WWE, excuse me, were only 6 points away, from, or 6 millipoints, I guess you could say. I don't know what the measurement's called. They almost doubled the demo. And Meltzer goes, last night, okay, he says, it's very clear that at this point, AEW's audience, unlike 2 years ago, is choosing WWE, and they have less of an exclusive audience than before. So, let's break that down, shall we? Because Meltzer won't come out and say this. Because he gets after podcasters all the time about their access and, they won't say this or they won't do this because they're afraid to lose their access. Well, Dave Meltzer, you're a hypocrite, pal, because you will not come out and say what the true problem is with AEW. You beat around the bush. You beat around the bush. You'll poke holes in matches. You poke holes in ratings, but you won't mention the one thing, okay? So let me ask you, Dave, and I want everybody to forward this to Dave Meltzer. Hi, Dave. I'm Nobody Podcaster number 52. Okay? And I want to know why, unlike 2 years ago, why AEW's audience is choosing WWE. I would like you to point out why they have an exclusive or why AEW has less of an exclusive audience. Or why WWE has less of an exclusive audience. Why? And don't give me it's just a cold company excuse. Why is it a cold company, Dave? Why are they so cold? You won't come out and say why. You know why? Because you're afraid. You're a 70-something scared little man who sits over there in his ivory tower in California and just won't, you live over there in the Bay Area, so I'll just say this, the fog has not lifted for you yet. You won't come out and say that since Vince McMahon left the company, WWE has gotten, well, you will say that. He has said that. But what you won't say is that the booking of AEW is the problem. You refuse to say Tony Khan is the problem. You refuse to say that Tony Khan should be nowhere near a book. You refuse to say that Nick and Matt Jackson are the problem. Anybody associated with the EVPs or anything like that are the problem. Cody Rhodes saw it. He's gone. CM Punk saw it very quickly. He's gone. Jade Cargill saw it. She's gone. And then you're going to turn around and go, well, how about people like Edge and Bryan Danielson and now Kevin Owens is rumored? They're all hopping over there. They want a payday. It's WCW light to them. ATM Tony. That's why. And Warner Brothers Discovery just foolishly handed him millions upon millions more dollars. It's a pay grab. That's why they go over there. And that's why they'll be back. Hell, Mercedes Moné, right after it was reported that she signed, Mercedes Moné does an interview and they ask her about WWE. And she goes, oh, I know that I'm going to end up back there someday. It's called after this contract is up and I get my millions of dollars and I get my bus paid for and I get this paid for, then I'll go back to WWE and wisen up. But you won't say it, Dave. You won't say that. You won't admit the real problem. You refuse. I'm asking. I'm calling out Dave Meltzer right now. I want you to go on Twitter. I want you to go on your website. And I want you to go in your Observer newsletter and on your radio shows. And I want you to say what the true problem is. Tony fucking Khan. That coked up, out of his mind, money mark idiot. I want you to say, you don't have to bring up the coke problem. You don't have to call him a snowman. Yeah, okay. Here, let's say Tony Khan doesn't have all these issues. And you sit there and say, you can't say he's a money mark now that he's got a TV deal and the company's profitable. Is the company really profitable when this man sinks his money and goes into the red on a damn video game that flopped? Is he really profitable when he does production change after production change after production change and hires production crew and writers that are used to be under WWE? They're not working for peanuts. This stuff doesn't cost peanuts. Is it really profitable when that puts him deeper in the red? Is it really profitable when he has sunk so much of his money into wrestling contracts like Bryan Danielson, like Edge, Christian, Mike Tyson on multiple shows over the years? Does that put you into the red or into the black? No, it puts you deeper into the red. Does it put you, all these things add up. Never, all the talent contracts, the production contracts, running these big buildings that don't draw, running these buildings, as CM Punk put it, are a quarter full, which now they're not even a quarter full. They drew about a little over 2,500 people for Collision. They're drawing maybe 3,000, 5,000 for Dynamite. And they're booking 15,000 seat arenas. WWE had enough nerve and the balls and the foresight to look at, okay, this big ass 15,000 seat arena is not selling for NXT the way it is selling for Raw. And we're going to go ahead and move to Chesterfield, Missouri, which is right, I want to say it's southwest of St. Louis. Still the same general area. We're going to move to the factory, and we're going to almost sell the place out. But no, AEW won't do that. AEW, I guarantee you if the Richmond Coliseum was open, they would book the Richmond Coliseum, which holds about maybe 10,000, instead of booking the Siegel Center on VCU's campus, which holds maybe about 5,000. He doesn't make smart decisions, but you, Dave Meltzer, will not say that. He'll say, oh, they are booking big arenas, and that's part of the problem, but he won't say that it's Tony Khan's fault. And to people who sit there and go, he shouldn't have to say it. Yes, he should. He should have to say it. He should have to admit that the man he holds in such high regard and the man that he claims to text message left and right is the problem. I mean, come on. It's just, it flat out befuddles me how this man can consider himself a journalist. He's becoming the Fox News of of wrestling news. He's Fox News. He won't admit the real problem. He won't see it from both sides. Now, granted, NBC is the exact opposite, but come on. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean here, guys. He won't admit it. And the more that he doesn't admit it, the more that he continues to placate and stroke Tony Khan's ego, the worse it's going to get. Because right now, Tony Khan's going, well, he hadn't said I'm the problem, so I must be doing something right. And we go back to their massive debt sheet that they have. Okay? Now, granted, Tony Khan has the money to pay all these things. But the video game thing and the talent contracts, when does Papa Khan look at all the books and say enough is enough? You got a $150 million a year TV deal for the next 3 years at least. And guess what? When you tally up everything that you've spent, it's probably, you probably have just enough to maybe become a tad profitable, if not break even. So don't tell me that, oh, this is the second most profitable company in wrestling. They're not. Look at their debt sheet. Well, they're not in debt. No, because they have more money than God. But if you take the company as a whole, and every time they have to reach into their vault to get a bailout for this company, instead of setting a budget going, okay, we're never going to spend over this amount of money, otherwise we're going to have to take a bailout, We're going to have to take it out of the left pocket instead of the right pocket. That's not being profitable. They've never been profitable, and I don't think they're going to be profitable now. If they are profitable now, it's a smidge. It's not enough to write home about. Are they making more than money than WCW? Yes, but Turner was taking money from WCW's profit margin and crediting it to Turner Home Entertainment. Ted Turner and or Time Warner, when they owned the wrestling company, were cooking their own books and making it look like they were robbing Peter to pay Paul. Now there's a big rumor coming out that they maybe own about 5% of the company. Because it came out with the Kevin Kelly Tate twins lawsuit, which Kevin Kelly may have a leg to stand on, but the Tate twins don't. Get your asses 100 miles up the road to damn Nashville and be professionals. But anyway, it came out in that lawsuit that they have to list anybody who owns 10% or more of the company. And they said no, that he has the highest voting share. Now, there is a rumor out there that Warner Brothers Discovery owns about 5%. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if they end up owning more, because Shad Khan is going to have to say enough is enough at some point. This is a Band-Aid over a huge open wound, this new television contract. Are they going to be able to up their production value? Yes. But like I said, how much? By how much? How much does this put them in the black when they're so far deep in the red? And you, Dave Meltzer, will not admit that. You, Dave Meltzer, will not come out and say. You'll say what the problem is, but again, you're beating around the bush. You won't come out and say what the true problem is. Anyway, folks, send this to Dave Meltzer. Notice I didn't have 15 and so moments here like Dave does. But anyway, send this to Dave. I want him to address it. I want him to sit there and go, "You're just another bottom-feeding podcaster who does not know what's going on with ratings and blah, 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 blah." No, Dave, you're just a disorganized little bitch who can't say what the true problem is. Every time somebody asks you, okay, it's not as if you don't know when you're doing a radio show with Alvarez. You should have those rating numbers already handy. But anytime Brian Alvarez on one of your shows asks for ratings, you got to sit there and fumble through a stack of papers in your freaking death trap of an office for 15 minutes before you finally actually get to the numbers. You're a disorganized, wool over your eyes little bitch who can't admit the real problem. And I dare you to respond to this. I dare you to come out and say something on one of your little radio shows or on one of your little dadgum podcasts, because you are a podcaster, for better or worse. Nobody, come out on your newsletter and say, respond to this. I don't subscribe to it, so I'm sure somebody will tell me what's going on. But I want somebody to come out and get this to Dave so he can come out and say that the booking is the problem. Tony Khan is the problem. It's not the fans. The fans got sick and tired of bullshit booking. The fans got tired of illogical, nonsensical booking. You yourself had even admitted that some of the stuff they do is WCW 2000 shit. But you won't say how to fix it. And it's take the book away from Khan. And every time you talk about WWE, anytime you're forced to acknowledge WWE, anytime you're forced to admit that WWE has done something good, we can tell by the sound of your voice that it hurts you, that it painstakingly hurts you to have to admit that. But you won't admit that AEW has a serious problem and the multi-million dollars doesn't solve it. Signing Kevin Owens, Daniel Bryan, John Moxley, Edge, take your freaking pick, you old moron. It doesn't matter when they're put into situations that are nonsensical and stupid. It doesn't matter. You used to say the same thing and call out Vince McMahon when he did the same thing, but you won't do it to Tony Khan because, again, you're afraid of losing your access. Oh, I finally got a promoter that reads the Observer. Oh, I finally got a wrestling promoter that I could chat with and text. I finally got a friend who's actually in the business and doesn't call me a piece of shit. That's what you sound like. And I can't say anything bad about my friend or else they won't invite me to their birthday party. That's what you sound like every time this goes on. But you got the nerve to say that about other people in WWE and not wanting to be, oh, they won't say that because they're afraid WWE won't invite them to the next press conference. Nobody watches that shit anyways. Anyway, folks, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Forward this. Tag Dave Meltzer in this. I want this to get out. I want him to hear my dumb Southern hick voice call his ass out and say what the real problem is. But he won't. I guarantee you he won't. Because he's a spineless, gutless, unethical worm when it comes to journalism. You like to say you're a journalist? Well, God damn it, Dave, be a journalist. We'll see you down the road.